Stop! Get away from the car! There's something underneath it! What?
Oh, God.
Run!
Look under the car right now. Words cut through the street like a blade, sharp with fear. The millionaire stopped breathing as his eyes followed her shaking finger. Look under the car right now. The shout came from nowhere and everywhere at once, tearing through the calm of a bright afternoon. People flinched. A man in an expensive coat froze mid-step. His polished shoes hovered above the pavement, as if the ground. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. The girl who shouted stood near the curb, small and thin, wrapped in layers that did not match. The season, her hair was pulled back with a frayed ribbon. Her eyes were wide, not wild, but clear. Too clear. The kind of eyes that saw things others missed. Because they had learned to watch the world for danger, the man did not want to look. His car was perfect. Black paint without a scratch, symbol of control, of wealth, of safety. He had places to be. People waiting, power waiting, but the street had gone quiet. The girl's voice had not been loud. It had been urgent, honest, heavy. With something that could not be ignored, she was homeless. Everyone could see that. And because of that, many had already decided she did not matter. The man felt the weight of their stares. He felt irritation first, then embarrassment, and something colder, fear. He bent slowly, knees stiff, breath shallow, and looked. What he saw beneath the car locked his body in place. Something was dripping, dark, steady, not oil, not water, blood. It spread across the pavement in a thin, trembling line, creeping toward the curb like it was alive. For a moment, no one moved. The girl stepped closer, her bare hands clenched into fists. She did not look at the man. She looked at the car, at the space beneath it, the life trapped there. She had seen it because she always looked down. When you sleep outside, the ground becomes your ceiling. You learn its secrets. Under the car was a man, older, gray hair matted with sweat. His body twisted at an impossible angle, one leg pinned, chest barely rising. His eyes were open but unfocused, staring at nothing. The crowd gasped now. Phones came out too late. Voices overlapped in confusion. Someone asked how this could happen. Someone else whispered that he must have fallen. Another said it was not their problem. The millionaire staggered back, his face pale. He had driven in moments earlier. He had not felt a thing. The girl finally spoke again, softer now, almost to herself. He is still breathing. That sentence changed everything. The man under the car was a veteran. Though no one knew it yet, his body still carried the discipline of a life once lived in service. His hands were rough, his posture stubborn, even in pain. He had survived deserts and storms, orders and losses. And now he lay pinned beneath a stranger's car, unseen, unheard. His name was Samuel. Years ago, Samuel had worn a uniform that smelled of dust and metal. He had shared meals with men who never came home. He had written letters for those who could not. He had learned to stay quiet, to endure, to hold the line even when no one was watching. When he returned, the world had moved on. Jobs were scarce. Help was slow. Pride kept him silent. Silence became habit. Today, that silence almost killed him. Earlier, that morning, Samuel had walked the same streets he walked every day. He felt the ache in his hip where an old injury lived, smelled coffee from a cafe he could not enter. He paused near the curb to rest just for a second. That was when his leg gave out. He fell hard. Breath knocked from his chest. Before he could move, before he could shout, the car rolled in. The weight crushed him. Pain exploded. Then darkness pressed close. He did not scream. Soldiers are trained to save breath. Time passed strangely under the car. Heat, exhaust, the taste of blood in his mouth. He thought of the desert once, the way the sun pinned men to the ground. He thought of a friend who had died quietly beside him, eyes open, waiting. He thought this was how it ended, until the girl screamed. She had been walking along the sidewalk, counting cracks, searching for coins, watching shoes pass her by. Noticed the drip first, the wrong color, the wrong smell. She dropped to her knees without thinking. She saw the man's hand, still trembling. She did not hesitate. Now the street was alive with chaos. Someone called for help. Someone else argued about moving the car. The millionaire stood useless, hands shaking. His world cracked open by something he could not buy his way out of. The girl knelt beside the curb, ignoring the crowd. She slid her jacket off and pushed it under the car, pressing it against Samuel's wound. Her hands were steady. She whispered to him that he was not alone, that help was coming, that he had been seen. Samuel heard her voice like it came through water, but it anchored him. He held on. Minutes stretched. Sirens approached. The crowd parted. Uniforms arrived. Not soldiers this time, but responders. They moved with purpose. Tools scraped against metal. The car was lifted inch by inch. As Samuel was freed, his eyes met the girl's. He tried to speak, could not. But his gaze held gratitude deeper than words. The millionaire watched it all, his chest tight. Something inside him shifted. He saw the girl now. He really saw her, not as a problem, not as background, but as the center of the moment. People whispered. Someone recognized the veteran's tattoo. Another noticed the faded insignia on his jacket. Respect moved through the crowd like a wave. One of the responders paused and stood straighter. He saluted Samuel before loading him into the ambulance. The street fell silent again. A different silence. Heavy with meaning, the girl stood alone now, her jacket gone, her arms wrapped around herself. She looked smaller without it. The millionaire approached her slowly, not as a man in charge. As a man humbled, he offered his coat. She hesitated and took it. She did not smile. She did not thank him. She did not need to. Sometimes the bravest thing is to speak when no one listens. Sometimes the strongest people have nothing left but their voice, and sometimes dignity arrives barefoot and unheard until it saves a life. Samuel survived. At the hospital, doctors worked quickly. They said another few minutes would have been too late. When he woke, he asked about the girl. No one knew her name, but the story spread. People shared it online. Not with anger, but with awe. They talked about the girl who looked down, the man who stayed silent. The moment that forced everyone else to see, the millionaire funded Samuel's recovery without publicity. He did it quietly. Respect learned. Late still counts. As for the girl, she was found days later by a local shelter. Someone recognized her from the story. She accepted help on her own terms. She kept the coat. Weeks passed. Street returned to normal. Cars parked. People hurried. But something invisible had changed. Some began to look down more often. Some listened. Because heroism does not always wear medals. It does not always speak softly or loudly. Sometimes it shouts. One sentence at the right moment and saves a life. And somewhere, a veteran walks a little easier, a girl sleeps a little warmer, and a man with everything remembers the day he learned what truly mattered. If this story moved you, share where you were watching from. Tell us what you saw in it. Subscribe. For more stories that honor the quiet strength hiding in plain sight,